The Vietnam War was an unforgettable war that started in 1954 that will always be remembered for its staggering death toll. 2 million Vietnamese civilians lost their lives, along with 1 million Vietnamese soldiers. 58,000 American soldiers and tens of thousands were injured. A war that began over the fear that communism would spread all across the world. The Soviet Union and China were fighting with Japan and the French, each one wanting to take control over Vietnam. Northern and Southern Vietnam wanted to be unified, but they could not agree between communism or the Western democracy. This eventually led to a continuous battle for power, splitting the country in half. The Viet Minh seized a northern portion of Vietnam while the southern remained under French control. The Cold War was peaking, and the United States was preventing the Soviet sphere from reaching different countries. Those countries of concern were Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia. The domino theory discusses how it believes that if one country becomes communist, the other neighboring countries would follow suit. This was the main reason why the United States became involved, because they felt like if they didn't help out, that it wouldn't just be Vietnam, it would be all the other countries surrounding Vietnam. This was a war that lasted 19 years and went through 5 presidents, ending with Nixon. In the following video, you will see an oral video where I interviewed Feliciano Lucio. He's a Vietnam vet, and he had quite a bit to say about the war. Unfortunately, I was not able to play it all because it was over an hour interview. Please enjoy.
My name is Feliciano P. Lucio, also known as Ken Lucio, Crazy Legs, and I was born in 1945 in Robstown, Texas. It's called a poverty town.
And where were you the day? What were you doing when you found out you were drafted?
I was waiting for my girlfriend to get out of high school.
Oh, God.
And I had just barely put my application in college to go for commercial art. And they rejected it because I was already drafted, so I could not continue that. So it was a shock, but I said, well, if I don't go, I'm going to jail. So I said, well, I gotta go.
Yeah,
So
it's training.
Right.
So the training that you got, you say it was like for 6 months.
Yes.
Do you feel that you had adequate training with what you were faced with out there in the jungle?
No, I was not, because 3 months of basic training is only the formality. Then 3 months of jungle training, you're still a young guy. You've never been exposed to fighting, killing, or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it was a very short time, and I don't think it was enough training for us to go over there. And a lot of people that went over there with me, they were just younger than me, 18, 19. And when they got there, they were already crying and wanted to come home. And the training was not enough.
Yeah.
It was just hurry up and go do it.
Yeah, I got a job to do.
Yes.
Yes. Were you the only child? So what was your job title?
My job title?
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it. Kill people and get paid for it.
But you were on the line.
I was in the first coverage division, air assaults. In other words, they go and drop you off and do a search and destroy mission. Of course, it's very hard on you that you don't know nothing how to kill a person. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people go through a lot of mental problems when they do that. Me, when I killed my first person, I threw up for about 3 days, and every time I close my eyes, I see him every time I close my eyes. But then I realized that if I don't do what I'm doing, I ain't making it home. But that's sad how they're using those kids, the women, to end up doing some damage. Yeah. And if you're young, like I was, you panic. I seen a couple of kids that went in there. As soon as they arrived, they had their gun like this, and they already froze. They wouldn't get the rifle out of them. They had to put them back in the chopper. It snapped, and they went to a mental hospital because they were so young that seeing things like that, go to a battlefield and you just barely come from the United States and see dead people, parts of the arms, and on that place it shows some part of the arms on some of those pictures, and people just laying all over the place, guts and all over the place, and you panic. And that's what some of the young men would do. And I said, man, I'm glad I didn't snap, because I was falling asleep. But they're young kids. You hear them at nighttime crying, and you can hear them cry. And I would just think about my girlfriend. I think about my mom. I said,
What was your greatest fear being out there?
the greatest fear when we got lost and they sent us to Cambodia and we were not supposed to be over there. The government said, we're sending you to a mission. Only you and your squad going over there just for information. But if you get caught, we didn't send you. In other words, the government wanted to clean their hands.
Yeah.
They didn't want to, in case we got in trouble. I didn't see them. They got lost. Yeah, I'm still there. So I said, I got lost? No. So it's sad how the government treated us because sometimes you ain't get no change of clothes for 3 or 4 months. When they deliver food or water, then you get your clothing. So
Were you ever without food for a while?
for 3 days, that's what that picture. I'm eating some bread. That bread is all green. It's all green because where's that picture?
Which
Where's
one
that
of it?
this one. Look at the background.
Yeah.
Look at the background. You can see some pieces of arms and legs in there, and I'm eating a bread that got green mold on it.
So, when the war started and you had to leave, did you understand what was going on and why you were leaving, what your mission was?
Well, I knew that it was. I don't know if you know anything about the Tet Offense. The Tet Offense was when all the North Vietnamese soldiers attacked all the base camps in 1967, 68 on April was the Tet Offense.
Okay.
The Tet Offense that they attacked all the bases at the same time.
Right.
Big major attack.
Yes.
And then the Marines that were trapped in the DMZ separate the North and South Vietnam.
Yes.
The Marines were trapped. They couldn't get out, so they called the 1st Cavalry Division. It was 125 choppers. Went over there and we parked in Laos. And I only had about maybe 25 days to go and to come home. And we had to make that assault. That's when another little fear started on me. This is a major thing. This is something big. So by the time we knew it, I felt bad because I said, here I am, almost made it through the year, and I got 20 more days, and we got this major thing that we have to do. And you go at nighttime with your night goggles, and you're seeing 5 to 10,000 North Vietnamese soldiers marching on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and you got to face them tomorrow. But thank God that we didn't have to.
Yeah, definitely.
No, when we flushed them out in the open, the choppers came and tore them like targets, and tore them up. Then when I got in the chopper, the captain told me, you got 2 weeks for processing, get on the next chopper to bring us water and food, and get on the chopper and go processing. I went out to all my friends, and I didn't want to go.
Oh.
If there were all the panic I wanted to come home so bad, because they were all my family.
Exactly.
So I didn't want to leave. I said, dang it. So when I
You
left,
say they paid you. So did they pay you for the whole time you were there, or every month?
every month I would get a check.
And where was that going?
I would go to my grandma. I would put a savings bond to my grandma, and I would keep $25, $30 because I would buy whiskey, weed. Weed was under the processing. And all I did was drink. And when I went back to California, then I said, this is sad here. There's nothing I can do. So I was like lost. So all I did was drink and go party. Drink and party. Then I got some weed and party all the time and couldn't think straight until my uncle said, you need to get a job. It was sad, but it's a hard adjustment. But
Of course it is. And it probably carried on even throughout your years.
me and my wife had a lot of ups and downs because of my drinking. So I went into martial arts in 1969. That kept me, I guess, controlled because I could not be drinking and doing drugs. I was doing martial arts.
Yeah.
So that controlled me, and my wife controlled me pretty good. So those two things were really settled my thing down.
Women tend to do that, don't they?
They do. And I thank God for it too. Otherwise, if I would stay in California, I would have been dead already. Worked in that company for 12 years.
Yeah.
And of course, I still had that anger. Something said something to me or whatever, and the first thing I wanted to do is fight. Like Mario, just fight.
Just fight.
Don't ask questions. But then, of course, the only reason I took martial arts because I was 130 pounds. when I came back from Vietnam. I went 156, came back 130. And I went to bars. I was 21 already. All the hell angels were in the bars. And they would grab me by the neck and say, "You're going to buy us a beer, right?" I was skinny.
Yeah.
I said, "Okay."
You're like, yes, how many do you want?
And I got tired of that.
Yeah.
So then I started taking martial art. They started working for me after a while
Oh.
because they were paying me to go fight, money fight.
Oh, okay.
But then, of course, I was getting deeper into the
Into the weed
drugs.
and the drugs, yeah.
So I said, no, this is not me. And that caused a lot of problems between me and my wife. But then, thank God that we evened it out. And when the company closed down in California, I decided, you know what? The economy's going down. We're going to lose our house. You know, let's sell it. The company closed down. Got all 3 kids big. You know, the 10 chiquillos. We got to get out of here. My hometown is Corpus. Yours is El Paso. Let's move in a middle town, Del Rio.
And you chose
I
Del
don't
Rio.
I don't know nobody here.
Uh-huh.
No, I was in Sanderson.
Oh.
My uncle had some land in Sanderson. We were hunting every day over there.
Yeah.
But then after it calmed me down also away from everybody because
Yeah.
the red race in San Francisco and California was closing up on me.
Yeah.
And my PTSD was getting worse. I could not even trust my own shadow. I would look and I'd be out there all paranoid. And when you're smoking, of course, it gets worse.
Oh, yeah.
So when I came over here, I saw the peace, no traffic, no freeways. Dang, no red race, no drive-by shootings in here. Dang, I like it. So we stayed there until I said, we got to go to Del Rio. The kids need doctors. So we moved in here in 1981. And I've been here since 1981.
You found your place of what you had
Right.
to do. You know, the Vietnam War was so long, 30 some odd years. We went through 5 presidents during that
Quickly.
time. Yes. So when you were there, what president were you under? Do you remember? Which one?
Johnson and Nixon.
Johnson and Nixon. So that was towards the end.
I was there in 1967 to
Because
60.
that's kind of what I was going to say, because you've got Kennedy, who was right before Johnson.
Right.
Kennedy, who was very soft-spoken.
Very
He was
soft-spoken.
just was too soft about
But
communism.
he was soft, but he was very accurate on when somebody threatened him, he will call their bluff. Like when they put the Cuban missiles in Cuba, he told Russia, you put those missiles in there, my plane's going to be around your door tomorrow. He didn't back off. So Russia back off.
And that is true. And
That's true.
he stuck to his stuff. A little softy at times, but so then he had made a promise that when he got elected that he would end the war. And unfortunately, he didn't get to that point.
They didn't want him to end it.
Exactly. So then we get to Johnson,
Yeah.
who, you know, and that's what I was going to ask you. Like, you saw how Johnson was as a president and Nixon. And Johnson, at the end of his term, he decided that he wasn't going to run again because we weren't winning. And
He was going to look bad.
but I also take it as being responsible in that if you don't feel like you're getting the job done,
Right.
or that what you're doing just isn't enough,
Right.
he just decided, I'm going to, be done, and let's see what the next person
Person's
can
gonna do.
Which is what I wish that anybody would do in the
Right.
position. I mean, politics aside, like our current president right now, I wish he would just not run again because I have my reservations about how I feel he's not educated enough or doesn't have the background enough to make decisions. But that's neither here nor there.
Right.
But I think that when you're responsible in anything that you do, if you feel like you just can't do it, step down. And I admire him for doing that. So then you have Nixon that came in and his little scandals and whatever. He comes in and he gets to somewhat get the job done, although we kind of pulled out and it kind of looks like, and he stays with it and sticks to it, which is what I was going to ask you. Do you feel like towards the end with these last 2 presidents, and more so Nixon, that it became more of a political war more than a soldier's war? That it was, we're not going to back down because we can't back down, because how can we lose to these little countries? We're going to look like wusses. And that's the only reason why they stayed in it?
No.
No. What do you feel? How do you feel about that president and how they handled it towards the end?
My opinion, they handled it bad, yes, but it was not too much politically. It was all about money. because whoever goes into war and they want some of your weapons or ammunition, even though you're fighting against them, you're providing that to them. You're making money.
Yeah.
And that's where they were afraid that they would lose all their assets, that they already had investment in China, Russia. All their money was already invested.
Coming from the heart, of course.
Sure.
Would you do it again?
If it was necessary that I had to, I'd do it again.
While the United States was aggressive in trying to defend Vietnam from suffering to communism, the unfamiliar and rough terrain in Vietnam, along with the vast disapproval of war from the American people, forced the United States to withdraw its forces in 1973. Vietnam ultimately fell to communism in 1975, and the U.S. reputation was a bit tarnished as a global superpower, with the Soviet Union gaining a victory in the ongoing Cold War. However, this defeat would not stop the U.S. from progressing forward with containment and preventing the Soviet fear from spreading.